Oregon. I mean, come on. Who's in the lineup for the Blazers tonight? But, hey, the Warriors control what they control, which is how they play, and good news for them. Gary Payton II is available with the right knee inflammation. They missed his point of attack defense the other night. He's been hitting the 3-ball from the corner. Quinn Post still questionable as he's dealing with the illness. But good news is QP was warming up before the game tonight. But the Warriors, look, they wake up this morning and still control their own destiny. They're 6th place in the Western Conference right now after Minnesota put it on the Memphis Grizzlies last night in Memphis. So after losing to San Antonio, Zena, just win and you get in the top 6 and get that week off.
Take care of business. This is the period of time right now that the Warriors cannot look across the ball other than to just take care of who's there. They got to focus on everything they're going to need in the playoffs. Make sure your offense is sharp. Make sure your communication is clean. Make sure every aspect and ounce of energy you can have out on the floor gets there, because you got to win this game and Sunday, and then you get a week off. That's it.
Yeah, you control your own destiny. I think tonight is important to have a professional approach, focus, and you can use this game to iron out some things to the prior game. Mainly the Steph Curry minutes, get that ironed out, get some guys feeling good about their game. And then Sunday's game is going to be another playoff type situation. So this could be a nice game. Get the starters their work, their rhythm. Get the bench feeling good about themselves and bring that momentum into Sunday. And then ideally you get that week off to prepare for the first round of the playoffs.
Well, let's revisit Wednesday night because we're all stunned at chasing. There's a San Antonio Spurs came in with nothing to play for on the back end of the back-to-back like the Golden State Warriors. They came in as Harrison Barnes with 6 of 9 from the floor, all 3-point attempts, and he made 6 of them. He's been one of the hottest players in the league from the 3-point line, shooting over 56%. Recently, HB with the game winner after committing really a tough foul on Draymond Green, but Draymond Green made the 2 clutch free throws, and this is where they have to bounce back after that WCW loss. But still, you move on from the calendar, and this loss doesn't hurt you as much. However, if they would have won, maybe they could sneak up into the 4 or 5 range more.
Yeah, but you got to learn some things from this game. This was a strange game. The Warriors dominated the first, Spurs dominate the second, Warriors dominate the third, and then the Spurs dominate the fourth quarter and hit the game winner. But those non-Steph Curry minutes that night was a -16. They look a little discombobulated. Spacing was not there. I thought they really missed Quentin Post in the lineup with Jimmy Butler. So ideally he'll be back tonight, if not Sunday. They're going to need him in the playoffs. But I think the Warriors, when they get that separation, they were up 12 going into the fourth. That's when you got to put teams away. You let a team hang around, or you turn the ball over too much, let them hang around, and then they get you at the end. I was wondering, Bonte, if Harrison Barnes, did he foul Draymond on purpose? I was wondering about that later on.
He walked away kind of like, I'll take it.
Live, I thought it was a crazy foul. But then I was thinking later on, maybe he did it on purpose. And the only way he could redeem himself, if it wasn't, was stepping up and hitting that big-time game winner.
Yeah, no, Mully, you're making a great point about being able to iron some of those things out from Wednesday night coming into tonight's game. I mean, the way that game ended was a heartbreaker. It was a dagger. Of course, Harrison Barnes being the person to do it was even more of a dagger. But ultimately, the Warriors got lucky. Memphis lost against Minnesota. That put things back into their favor coming into this weekend. And so right now, again, the Warriors just have to focus on what they can control, and that is coming into tonight's game sharp.
And we hear so many times Steve Kerr talking about connecting the game, whether it be offense to defense. And then this starting unit, where they 15-2 now. 15-2. So we got the starters lined up. Now connecting that bench, right? Yeah. So we know who the starting lineup's going to be. Now connecting that bench, so when you have that 12-point lead, that lead grows. You do not want to have teams hang around. A team like tonight, you don't want that to happen. And definitely in the playoffs, you don't want guys making big comebacks when you build that lead.
Well, obviously, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and many others were despondent Wednesday night after their loss to San Antonio. Let's take a listen to what they had to say on where the game went wrong Wednesday night against San Antonio.
That was the key to the game, top of the second, top of the fourth. You know, we played 2 great quarters tonight, first quarter and third quarter. And then both of those quarters, top second, top 4, they blitzed us. I think they went 19-3 in the second quarter.
It didn't happen in the fourth quarter. It happened in the second quarter. End of the first quarter, second quarter, we just started giving up straight line drives. They found a rhythm. That's when it happened. We found a way to get the lead back, but we never don't mess around with games.
You're up 12 going to the fourth. Your defense is really going to be the difference in maintaining that separation. Like, again, who cares if you make or miss shots? You just can't give a team life, and giving up 38 points.
All right, let's welcome in the great KB, Kendrick Perkins, our Warriors insider and Hall of Famer here at NBC Sports Bay Area. Monty! Monty Poole in the building.
How did I miss this again? How did I miss this again?
Courtesy of Comcast.
We got to drove some energy for this game, man.
Every connection counts. Remind me of the season finale a couple years ago when Portland sat everybody. The Warriors scored like 157. Anyway, KB, the non-Steph minutes, minus 16. We saw that 12-point lead in the fourth quarter where the Warriors were 42-4 going into the fourth quarter with the lead, now 42-5, of course, and rectifying the non-Steph minutes there. And it's obviously with Jimmy Butler at the helm. How did they fix that, KB?
All right, I looked at the non-Steph minutes because the question is then, well, who's on the floor? It's Draymond, it's Jimmy, it's Moses, it's BP. You're talking about 4 of your 5 starters and Jonathan Kuminga. Okay, so on paper, that should be enough shooting, that should be enough attack at the rim, that should be enough defense, but it wasn't. And a trouble spot that is emerging is how Draymond, Jimmy, and JK are just not working together. It's that lineup is just not working when they're on the floor together.
Yeah, that's a big problem right there. I mean, Jonathan is a unique player in the sense that he does his best work as a solo artist when he drives into the rim, gets downhill. Now, the non-Steph minutes are not a big problem with that lineup if Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody are hitting shots, which Brandon shot for 11 game stretch. He shot better than 52% from 3.
Yeah,
so if you don't need them to shoot that level, that's unsustainable. But the ideal behind that lineup is that Jimmy sets those guys up for open looks. When Brandon was shooting 52% from 3, a lot of open looks. And against the Spurs, the open looks went nowhere. And so Brandon and Moses went 6 of 22 from the field. And so that can collapse those non-step minutes right there because you need shooters to hit shots. They will be open. Jimmy's job is not to go out there and hit 4 3-pointers in a quarter. Yeah. His job is to find guys who get themselves open and get them the ball so they can make the shot. And so in that game, it was maybe a 1-game blip for Brandon, but Moses has been slumping. You know, his last 13 games, he's shooting about 30% from 3. He's got to be better than that.
Do you chalk it up at this point in the season, just as things start to dip a little bit for a few guys? Is it fatigue, and is those things they can't really say right now? They don't want to lose their spots, you know, that sort of thing? Because I would understand if the wear down of the season is in effect right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as Draymond says, and he's right, everybody's got something this time of year. You know, whether you're tired or sore or whatever, everybody has something. I think Moses is young enough and energetic enough to play through that. His shot's just not very good right now. And so once he fixes that, gets back to his shot, those non-Steph minutes will start to be better for the Warriors.
Another reason why that 6th seed is so essential, the rest heading into the postseason.
And you get some rest, KB. Monty gets some rest. We all get some rest. We could all use the rest, including, of course, the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry. So the non-Steph minutes, obviously, we touched on it the other night against San Antonio. And Steph had a good game, 30 points, right? 12 of 24 from the 4, 5 of 14 from 3. But also, just not focusing on the fourth quarter, Zena. The second quarter, we walked into the tunnel and we watched that second quarter. We looked up. San Antonio was up 7. They opened the second quarter on a 19-3 run. So as KB mentioned, it's the other guys who are starting on the floor. They've got to pick up their weight.
Draymond called it out. Straight line drives to the basket. The point of attack defense was just not in place. And then there was no protection of the rim, which is going to happen when you have a smaller team like the Warriors overall. So you've got to be able to stop people on the perimeter before they attack you inside.
Yeah, and Kareth mentioned fatigue could be a factor because I noticed them getting the ball up the floor kind of slowly, and a lot of those possessions were late in the shot clock when those shots were getting let go. So I think they got to get into their offense quicker, whether Jimmy's Butler handles the ball or not. And this bench has been solid. Oh, yeah, the second lead, they scored 44 points. Now we know who the starting lineup's going to be. It's really important that bench has their confidence, their rhythm, and momentum going into the playoffs.
Well, Gary Payton II is active tonight, and Quentin Post is also active after missing a couple games due to the illness, so that should help the bench production tonight in Portland. But Sunday, it all comes down to the final game of the regular season, and we'll take a look at the latest playoff seeding probabilities when we return on Warriors Pregame Live.
Xin chào cả chào mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là cái tủ. Hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là siêu nhân. Giờ mình bắt đầu làm nhé. Chúng ta lên mặt ngầu rồi đây. Qua ta đăng tin. Sau được 10 người xem ta lại xóa.
Đó, ta đang thấy mày có ta đi ấn vào trên em thôi mẹ.
Tự nhiên ta cảm thấy ta đăng tin nhiều quá cho nên là thôi ta không đăng nữa. Bắt đầu từ giờ. Ta hay đăng quá. Nhiều ảnh quá nhưng mà thôi kệ. Mọi người ơi, màu hồng ai, ăn màu vàng ai, màu vàng ấy nhá. Tiếp đến là màu vàng.
Cái gì nhỉ đấy, anh bảo cái gì ta?
Mà từ giờ ta sẽ không đăng tin nữa.
Anh bảo là lấy kẹo vào đây thì tao ăn.
Ồ, quên mất, bảo lấy cái kẹo ra cho các ông từ nãy giờ. Hai quả này đều khốn nạn.
Đỡ các bạn nhỉ? Coca-Cola tè. Cái gì? Tôi sắp đến rồi Coca-Cola tè.
Nào.